All right, so today we're doing a deep dive on something pretty interesting. You know how sometimes you see something in the news and you're like, what is going on here? So we're going to break down one of those moments and see what it might tell us about the media we consume.
Yeah, this should be a good one.
Huh.
When we pick a source for these deep dives, we try to pick something that really gets at like the heart of how media works. And I think this one definitely does that.
For sure. So we're looking at this YouTube transcript. It's from this channel called The Ring of Fire, and they're talking about a Newsmax video, and it's gotten some attention online.
Right. So we have sort of two layers here. We have the original Newsmax clip, and then we have the reaction to it on YouTube.
Exactly. And what happened on Newsmax was this host, Carl Higbie, was talking about immigration, like mass deportations and ICE raids, that kind of thing. And
And he did it while eating a taco.
yeah, like on air, he's eating a taco and talking about immigration and the Ring of Fire commentary. They really go after him for this. They call it straight up racist.
Well, you can see how it could be seen that way, right? I mean, the choice of food while discussing immigration from Mexico, it definitely plays into stereotypes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And he even says things like, what are you going to do? You're going to come take it out of my hand. I'm going to eat half this plate during the break. Maybe I'll call the ICE hotline. I don't know if I have enough time.
Yeah.
All kidding aside, this is actually a really good taco. So he's like making it part of the segment?
Yeah, like it's not just that he's eating, he's making it a point to connect the taco to what he's talking about.
And his justification, according to the transcript, is these people broke the law. They broke the law to get here. So he's tying it to the idea of illegal immigration.
Right. And that brings up this whole other question of like how different media outlets frame these issues, right? Because the Ring of Fire, they have a very different take on it.
Oh, yeah, they don't mince words. They call it Newsmax. Not news, not even information, not even entertainment. Right-wing propaganda to people who lacked any and all critical thinking skills.
Wow, that's harsh.
It is, and it shows you just how divided things are. We have Newsmax presenting it one way, and then the Ring of Fire completely rejecting that whole perspective.
And the commentator on the Ring of Fire,
Mm-hmm.
their reaction gets pretty personal too. They
Yeah.
actually say they had a brief thought of wanting Higbie to choke on the taco and that it would be completely justified as karma.
Yeah, that's intense, but it shows you how strongly people feel about this stuff.
Okay.
It's not just an abstract debate for a lot of people. It's tied to their lives and their communities.
Exactly. And it's a good reminder for all of us, I think, to think about the media we're consuming and what the intentions are behind it and how it's trying to influence us.
Right. So what we have here is this Newsmax host seemingly using this visual element of the taco to make a point about immigration, and then this YouTube channel condemning that action as racist. And it really shows you the different ways this topic and so many others are being presented and debated.
It's a microcosm of the media landscape. And I think it leaves us with a lot to think about, like, how do we navigate these different viewpoints? And how do we make sure we're getting information from sources we trust? And how do we have these conversations in a way that's productive and not just shouting matches?
Yeah, and I think one of the things this particular case raises is the role of humor in all of this, because was Higbie trying to be funny? Was he trying to make light of a serious issue? Or was it something else entirely? And how does that impact the way his message is received? And how do we separate the humor from the underlying message?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. And I don't think there's an easy answer, but it's something to keep in mind as we encounter these kinds of things in the media.
Yeah,
Is it just a joke or is there something more going on? And how do we unpack that?
exactly. It's about being aware and being critical and thinking for ourselves. And hopefully this deep dive has given you some food for thought. No pun intended.
Well, maybe a little intended.
Maybe a little.
All right. Well, that about wraps it up for this one.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll see you on the next deep dive.